bond is a federal emergency for that. The criteria is the county has to have greater than $700,000 of damage within a specific county. The city has turned in over $1.2 million of street alone damages, not including trees or anything else, but just saying the roads alone, immediate, boom, there's 1.2. The county has turned in $400,000. So from a county point of view, we met the threshold. The second threshold is you have to have, I think it's either 4.2 or 4.6 million from a state point of view. To make that number, we need Johnson County to come up high. Hopefully they don't, but my understanding is Johnson down in Iowa City, what was written in the Gazette talked about $4 million of flood protection being installed coming up for what they're going through now, or will be coming up through the next week and a half. So if they really do put up $4 million plus our $1.6 million here, we will exceed the criteria as a state just between Iowa City and here in Lynn County, at which time then it would have to be defined as a federal disaster area. The governor has already assigned us as a state disaster area, but state disaster areas, I don't know if a single penny we get out of it other than we're defined as state disaster area. But that's the first step that has to happen to become a federal disaster area. The person who would best be able to discuss that would be out of the Emergency Management Agency for Lynn County, and they've submitted the paperwork. The federal adjusters have not been to Lynn County yet, and hopefully they'll be here next week or the week after next. Then we'll go from there. But that's the status of that. The difference between 08 and today was they instantly, or even last year, the difference last year was you were looking at higher number of counties that reported damage instantaneous compared to this year. This year, really, it came down to Lynn and Johnson are primarily the first two that have reported in on the damage that I've heard about. And in 08, it was kind of like you had to be, it was, thank you, self-evident of what was about to come out of my mind was not, the magnitude of it was self-evident as soon as we lost thousands of homes on the 12th of June that day.
So you said the federal adjusters will be here next week or the week after?
That was the last time I talked to Mr. Goldberg last Thursday, I think.
So we can expect sometime after that.
Does that mean they're going to inspect homes? Is that what you're saying?
They come in. My only interface with them has ever been with public damage to our infrastructure, where I show them destroyed streets, piles of dirty sandbags, and all the other stuff.
So our houses don't matter, right?
That gets into a different area other than what the FEMA primarily targets a different area, and that's when you get into other discussions.
Do they extrapolate from the public infrastructure and
That's all
based on what damage has been to the public, they can assume perhaps?
But that's in the future, though. It doesn't, right, is what you're saying, that flood stuff or that 4 million and whatever.
That's what would be,
that
would be,
That's what's projected.
that's what they're projected that they will be spending on their flood protection down.
What happened to the monies from 08 flood that FEMA gave to the state or the city? Why can't those funds be registered to help the people out here now?
They're specifically used on specific projects that were constructed out of it, whether it was on sanitary sewer, repair of roads, or it was specifically targeted to the infrastructure or the costs associated with
Well, it definitely wasn't used on the sewers because this problem was caused by the sewers.
Right.
But,
Does the city need a dam to control the water somehow?
okay, I want to make sure let everybody get their...
I just have one other question to ask. On the house right next to me, the corner of 15th and B is completely condemned, and it's leaning towards my house.
Mine's leaning
I was
too.
told that we had 3 months before the house was going to take down. If it falls, it's coming right into my house, which my husband and my grandkids and kids live, and it's gonna kill us. And they're telling us we might not get our gas on until this house gets done, and the lady that's the renter, or the owner of this house has no insurance. The people had to be out in like 5 hours before it was falling, and we just keep watching that going down about another foot every day, and it's coming towards my house. I don't know what to do.
We need help.
Rather than turn over to building services.
Yeah, I was gonna ask for that.
Yeah, we really need help, bad.
I guess also, is there any relief for us folks as far as, I'm gonna have to probably tear down the best looking house I see on May Avenue. And I'm gonna give you an estimate, it's probably gonna cost $100,000 to tear it down, because it has a good slate siding on it, and you have to cover it all around the whole house, because there's asbestos fumes behind it, but it's perfectly good site. That ain't gonna happen if you think I'm gonna do it.
There's more
it ain't
than
gonna
2
happen.
houses ready to fall on other houses over there. That's why we really need help.
Yeah, mine's leaning a little bit just like this.
My house is leaning towards Ellen's house, was really bad.
You're right.
We could get collided, and I got one on each side of it.
There you go.
Can I take there's obviously a global issue
And
here, it's not
shelter
just
or what?
one issue.
Right.
We need to get our building services folk involved, and they will come and take a look, obviously, if they've not already. So are we just talking about A Avenue, B Avenue? What I'm really after is like a list of areas that they can
15 to
just focus
16 B and A
on.
Avenue.
I was gonna say, why don't we just do a hand sign, who lives in that area? Like 15th and 16th Northeast. 'Cause I don't think there's that many that aren't.
Well, I think the one gal is from, Northwest.
We have a few others.
Yeah, we're all,
I've been calling the city to get an inspector out at it because my house is leaning really bad towards Ellen's house. And I haven't got any response. My kids have been calling.
Sandy.
All right, I'm gonna.
Nobody's calling
No,
us
you
back.
almost got her in the face.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's
it been done?
I will speak with them in the morning and see what's going on. Because
Yeah,
evidently
probably
there's a
do
lot
later.
going on in that.
There is.
There is.
Somebody needs to come and take a
I wanna
look.
make sure, just,
Alan Butler, 1522 A Avenue. Starting at the alley in the 200 block of 15th Street, you come towards A Avenue and go to the next alley, counting 12 houses. Of those 12 houses, 6 of them have structural damage, either missing walls or collapsed floors.
Oh,
So we didn't have any problem there, did we?
Can you repeat that location again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
The alley that is in the 200 block of 15th Street, between A and B.
Okay.
Starting there, going towards A, and then you go towards 16th, you count 12 houses. Of those 12 houses, there's 6 of them with damage.
So that's in the same vicinity?
Yeah.
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 The situation is that quadrant sits on an L alley.
yeah.
So it's like this way and then back out towards A Avenue.
Yeah.
Because if you don't make the turn back on the bottom of it, you hit my backyard. So it's like this. So he's talking like from the alley here going up this way.
It's not even half a block.
No.
And then there, on the other corner, there's another house with a foundation going. Probably the one next to you,
Yeah, it is.
the brown one.
The
What-
brown one, I'm next to the brown one. I used to have a white picket fence that's no longer gonna be there.
What's really upsetting is we called Red Cross, we called United Way. Red Cross came out one day last week and gave us crackers. Crackers.
You got crackers?
I didn't get.
No,
we didn't get nothing.
I wanted her name.
I didn't answer the door.
But-
I was in the basement.
No water, no food. If it was a fire, they would be right out there to help us.
Right.
Where's our help? She went and picked up cleanup kits because she had a running vehicle for all of us in our block.
Because we saved it at the last minute. Because we plugged our sewer drain down in the basement. My husband did. He works at Cooper's Mill downtown, so he's very familiar with sewer problems. So he plugged our drain in our basement so we didn't take on as much water as our neighbors, but we still got a flooded basement. He plugged our drain right on time.
But it's just like, when we need the help, nobody's there to help. Where's our neighborhood organization? Oh, we're all volunteers.
I have a question though. If we have sewers big enough that you can drive a truck through, why are we flooding?
Yeah.
All the time
Why?
there's water down there when it rains.
We've got new sewers over there.
Well, again, I need to look at the specific maps of your area.
Okay.
But what I will say is that area is downstream of a lot of other areas too.
I know that.
2 years ago, they put those sewers in.
The neighbor died there, yeah.
Isn't there some sort of like pressure system, pump area, where if you have an elevated sewer system, something that would pump it in that opposite direction toward downtown, like the river, instead of having it just flow, wash back and forth and collect and flood those areas? Like one of those octagons that they have in Europe?
Again, I need to look at the specific maps, but what you would find is that the water is actually moving at an incredible rate during a flash flood.
Yeah, I know, I was down in it.
It's moving fast, and it's going the right direction. It just can't get enough water through the system to cope with the flash flooding.
Well, B Avenue was closed up because of trash and shit coming down. If we didn't keep emptying it, we probably would have gone up to the second floor. But all my wood floors, we did the basement, put wood, structures up to put our stuff up, so if we did get 3 or 4 feet, didn't help at all. And then today they came and got more stuff, and I said, we haven't even got our furnished stuff. And he goes, oh, you're supposed to be done by today. And I said, I'm sorry, sir, it's just me and my husband, and when kids come around to kind of help, we all have kids to kind of help us, but
I can't even get into my house to get anything out, because it's too dangerous.
Well, like you said, if it drains all the way down to the river, why did it stop at us and not keep draining? Because we're at the bottom of the hill?
Well,
we're at the bottom of the
Cedar Lake would be,
Or Cedar Lake? Why didn't, yeah.
Why didn't you go there?
Why didn't it go there?
it would have eventually. I mean, it's going that direction eventually.
It couldn't have been full because the child that died in it was dead. So it had to be full.
One came out alive.
Right, one came out alive, which is
Yep.
important.
Can I just make a clarification? So when we use the word sewer, it's very easy to get confused. There's actually 2 types of sewer.
Yeah.
There's the sanitary sewer and there's the storm sewer.
Yes.
And just to be clear, were people's basements backing up because of sanitary sewer? Or were they overtopping the foundation walls?
We probably got both.
Both.
We probably got both.
Both.
It happened so fast, I don't think there's anything we could do to help ourselves.
How was it coming in the house?
Up through the
Up to
basement,
the basement.
Was it coming?
up through the sewer drain.
Up through the sewer drain, everywhere.
I was fine till we had a tree branch go through the only window we did not replace in '93. And once it went to that window, it just left it wide
All
open,
right, so
just to
that,
brush it.
what you said right there is interesting to me, because if it's coming up through the sewer drain, that means it's going through the sanitary sewer, not the storm sewer.
But I think it was coming from both.
Well,
It's gotta be down there.
Our back door broke open because of the pressure on the outside.
from the
Right.
outside. So
Yeah.
there's both things going on.
Yep.
Both ways.
Yep.
I couldn't tell whether or not it started from the floor because it came so high across. We took the basement wall out and then filled the basement first floor to the kitchen. So I can't tell you where it started first, but I would imagine it started to come up through the bottom.
Yeah, it just blasted my basement windows in. I put a boot on and the damn water was a foot high. I put the second one on, it was up to my knees. It blasted both of them and just rushed
Came
them.
in, okay.
When it's raining that hard and the water's rushing that fast, it can't even go into the storm water inlets fast enough. And so it's gonna start rising in the neighborhood if it's low.
But that's just a problem. Along that street, as I pointed out earlier, there's not enough storm drains, period.
Why can't
That's
the water
what
get
it is.
There should be 4 or 5 at least somewhere, at least trying to catch everything. As First Avenue sits high enough, everything's gonna flow down. If you caught it on that open spout between McDonald's and High V, right then and there, that would alleviate some of the problem. And if every 50 feet or so, there was a decent storm drain that the city maintained. and
That we
kept
paid
clear.
for.
Exactly.
Yep.
Use the taxpayers' money to do the job. This probably wouldn't have happened.
I agree with
Maybe we would have
him.
gotten a small
Why don't you
amount of
fix
water
the
in
problem?
basements, but not several feet.
There's
So-
no way. I can handle a foot of water in the basement, not.
Exactly.
Yeah, if there's not enough sewer drains, like you said you're gonna come look at, why don't you fix it, since you knew we flooded in '93, you know what I mean, and now we've got new storm sewers and stuff, and, you know, maybe there's another problem that needs to be looked at, definitely,
I
so we
think a
don't...
lot of us would have left in '93 had we known we'd get flooded again.
Right, we would have.
Oh, yeah.
Because we put a lot of money in our houses.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
We all
all of
did.
a sudden, we got made a historical area, and they tell us what we have to paint, and what we can't paint, what we can't side, and
So you went right where I was going to. Sandy's already offered, he's gonna come out,
Right.
look, and so that's step one. And then we'll see where the recommendation goes from there.
Great.
is there going to be anything at all that we'll be able to get other than maybe an SBA loan?
Is there anyone you can get to send to us to help us?
That's it.
That's it.
Online.
So,
Yeah.
I want to jump in and make a suggestion here. My name is Megan Murphy, I'm the Utilities Communication Coordinator. And I think what we've done tonight has been very helpful for staff to gather the questions that you have and the problems that you experienced and problems you're still experiencing. So I think from here, what we need to do is, I want to make sure you signed in on the sign-in sheet so we can contact you with follow-up information. And maybe, I want to throw this out to the group, would it be appropriate to work with the neighborhood association to set up a meeting in a future, once we have a better sense of what's going on and what resources available, and then work through the Mountain View Neighborhood Association to set up a neighborhood meeting to provide more information?
What'd you say about the neighborhood association?
We've never been to one of them meetings.
Oh, it's the same.
So what I think I'll do is we'll have the neighborhood association meeting, we'll make sure that you know when that happens, and we'll have more information available at those meetings, so we can really start this conversation as a neighborhood. And at that time, we'll have a better sense of what happened and what might happen going forward, and we'll definitely look to identify more resources in the community. A lot depends on what happens on that federal stage, and that can take time before we know what's happening there.
It's not gonna help us.
No, that's not gonna help
It's not
us.
gonna help us.
Not
This
gonna
is
I mean,
a waste of our
they were here right away,
Yeah.
oh wait.
Well,
And our neighborhood association isn't good at getting to us.
let me make a comment. I was a flood victim in 2008 with 11 feet of water in my house. I lived close to AJ. I lost everything. And what you need to appeal to the city council is that people need immediate relief. And I don't think any city has learned to create that.
Right.
Right.
If you're a flood victim, you need immediate relief, especially if you can't go back into your home. Has any city set up the vehicle to make that happen?
Nope.
Has Iowa City? That's what we need, and
I think what makes a lot of us mad is that downtown was all made perfect right next to the river, and all of us that are a little bit way far away from the river, when you get hit in
Finally get
2008.
help from
It just doesn't make
somebody
sense.
to fix
yeah, I
the
was
place.
very fortunate. I got into a 10-year-old house way high up in 17 days because I saved my money. And June 30th, the guy across the street, greatest guy I know, his yard became a lake. It was rushing down like white water on the street, the creek behind my house. If anybody got in that, they would have been drowned. His yard became a lake June the 30th, and his basement flooded. Really nice house. And he built that house.
But did you get
So
any-
it flooded in other areas of this city, as you already know. But we need to create a department of immediate relief for flood victims.
Now, how are we gonna get to our city council people?
You're just going to have to appeal to them.
Is there a meeting
Okay.
and time that we can go?
How else does anything get?
I don't know.
Can we go to their meetings that they have? that-
Right.
Yeah, go to a city council meeting and just start
Let's do
appealing.
it, guys.
Because
Do that meeting.
we're good at being number one in a lot of different things. How about being number one in creating a department of immediate relief that really does help the flood victims?
Yes.
The next
Megan,
meeting
are you-
is tomorrow, I
Okay.
think at noon.
I was gonna say, were you looking
What's
that up?
that?
Yeah.
Tomorrow at noon at City
One last thing, I
Hall.
just got a question.
At City Hall.
Who's accepting responsibility for this flood?
The rain was so powerful, I don't think any system could have kept up with it.
Yes, but I've already pointed out the fact that we have a lack of drainage system on A Avenue, possibly B and C Avenue.
Well, when Hy-Vee went in, they put in a lot of new drains, but they didn't do anything on Hager.
Yeah, that was funny, it went right around how to be in.
There's only so much money. I'm already taxed to death. I pay $4,344 property tax per year. I can't afford any more. I'm retired.
Same here.
So we gotta start working.
Your
No.
immediate issues tonight. But Megan suggested one course of action, which is to work with the neighborhood association, just as a way to get you all back, together, because we won't meet again for another couple months, and you don't want to wait that long. So make sure your best contact information, phone, email, however it's going to take to get in touch with you, and then we'll make sure that you are alerted to when that meeting happens.
Are those two papers that were floating around here the same thing?
Yeah, they are,
Okay,
yeah. I didn't think it would all fit on one, so I
Okay.
started another one around. So where are those papers?
The meeting tomorrow night at City Hall is where we.
Tomorrow at noon.
Yeah, and they have
They have a
public
comment.
input session, or,
At the end.
yeah, public comment.
That is where again?
Yeah, so the
City Hall.
City Hall.
Yeah.
We're gonna take it to city.
When is our next council meeting?
Tomorrow at noon, yeah.
Is that?
So at the meeting.
Oh, at the meeting?
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah,
that?
you can
It's
also.
at 101 First Street Southeast.
On the bridge.
It's the old federal courthouse.
City Hall.
Southwest?
Southeast.
Southeast.
Check.
Yeah.
Yeah.